Council meeting on Wednesday the 8th of August, and we'll start with item 1, apologies for absence. Councillor Lowe. We'll have a proposed by Joyce, seconded by Sally Ann. All those in favour to accept? Unanimous, thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Members are asked to declare, if required, 1, any disclosable pecuniary interest they may have on respect to any item on the agenda. Martin?
I have an interest in the planning application, which is item number 16, number 6, because I live in the road and it's in my ward, but there's no pecuniary interest.
Right. Have you got that? Joyce?
Non-pecuniary interest on planning free application for Mr. George, as he is an acquaintance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, George.
That's number 9, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also 2, any other interest that they may have in respect to other items on the agenda. We'll go with that. And members are reminded to inform the clerk of any changes to their to the register of interest. Thank you. Right. Item 3 is minutes of the meeting held on Wednesday the 11th of July. I'll take them a page at a time. Anybody got anything on page 1? Page 2? Page 3? Do I have a proposal for those, please? Sally Ann, seconded by Paul. All those in favour, those who are not voting is myself, Zoe and Peter, because we were absent. All those in favour of accepting? That's unanimous. Thank you.
7.
And Adam's
Okay,
not.
you need to. Oh, do you want 7 at a time? Okay. So,
And number 2 on that one is the minutes of the meeting held on the 25th of July. And the only ones not voting on this one will be Peter, Jean and Joyce. So anything on page 1? Anyone know? Right, so moved. Do I have a seconder? That's it. Thank you. That was Daniel. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you.
and I need to just decide that. Brilliant. Thank you.
Item 4 is chairman and members' reports. Anybody got any reports? No? Item 5, councillors' questions.
None notified.
Item 6 is deputations by the public. What I plan on doing before I take the deputations is I'm just going to move things around. We're going to take item 8 first. So proposed by Councillor Lucas that we suspend standing orders. Is that seconded? Joe, I can read your last name. Right, all those in favour of suspending standing orders? 5, 6, 7, 8. Suspending against? 1. Oh, 1 abstention. That was Okay, so suspension standing order is removed. So I will ask, I have 3 members of the public who wish to speak on item 9, which we will be taking next. And Mr. Quigley, do you want to go first, or do you want to let Mr. Hallam go first?
Well, I think as Mr. Hallam has the larger portion of information to put out there, I think it would be best.
Just to let members know that before you start, that quite a few members wanted to speak on this. So what I've agreed with them is, as opposed to having everybody saying 3 minutes, Mr. Hallam, I'm going to allow him 10 minutes. Mr. Quigley has then got a few words to say, and Mrs. Pilton has got a few words to say, and that will cover the whole issue. So, Mr. Hallam, over to you. You have 10 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed for having us. We did put this
Excuse me, can you stand back? I lip read. Sorry about
And
that.
that's all right, Councillor Winter. I was just thanking you all for entertaining us this evening. We waited quite a long time because I first raised this in 2017 with Tony Mathias. And for whatever reason, I don't understand the protocol, neither do my co-residents. And so we lost the opportunity earlier this year because of nobody put us forward as a proposer, nobody seconded us. We weren't aware of that, and then in the last meeting, which Councillor Lowe did an admirable presentation of sorts, which we really appreciated, but in actual fact, there are one or two points that we wanted as a group to get over, simply because it's important to us, and although Councillor Lowe did a good job, there were one or two points of misconception, maybe. We felt that you probably were labouring under it. And if I start off, has everybody got the map in front of them? The map that should be in fact. Everybody's got that? In the absence of presentation, because I'm sure that you haven't got time tonight to actually see the presentation, basically what we've done is we've put yellow lines throughout Schoolfield Close, running into Hilton Close there. If I can just take a step back and take you from Stamford Road, it's a 30-mile-an-hour road. People come off Stamford Road, not at 30 miles an hour, but they come off fairly quick. At the entrance of Burley Road, Stamford Road, there's a bus stop, which is, it's an unofficial bus stop in actual fact, but we're not NIMBY, we don't complain about that because we know that it serves the community, but it's a regular bus stop. So, as a dangerous junction, not necessarily a busy junction, that's in the way, it's a hamper. When you approach Sculthorpe, to your left you have a service road servicing 5 houses, you have a driveway on the right servicing 2, and then within 3 yards, another drive on the left servicing 1 house. There are in total 18 vehicles at that point. So this is a very dangerous junction. Let me tell you why it's a dangerous junction. When people come off Stamford Road at the speed that they do, when you're coming out of the driveways, you look left, you look right, you look right, you look left. Hopefully there's nothing coming around, so you look left, and then you look right and start to pull out. If there's any line of sight missing there, if there's a van, for example, down the head side, very often parked on the curb, then you can't see anything coming, so you have to edge out further. Now, for these vehicle drivers, that's dangerous. And it's actually waiting to happen. There have been many close shaves. I've been involved in a couple of close shaves where I live, which is on the corner. People straddle the curb simply because they feel as though they're doing you a favour, but they're not. My lovely assistant over here, Loveday, was blocked in. Somebody parked on the curb right outside the gate so she couldn't get a disability buggy out. Now, from our perspective, that's totally unacceptable. To push ladies with pushchairs onto the road, which is what the pavement's for, is totally unacceptable. There's a speed hump there. The speed hump was designed to slow cars down. It doesn't necessarily always do that, as we all know, because there's a child's playing field. Children, when they've been excited, come out of the playing field, they dart everywhere. When there's a line of traffic, you can't see their little heads, they can't see you, and it's only a question of time. The road itself is only 5.5 metres. When you look at Edmonton, theirs is 6 metres something, 6.1, which is wider. They have no dangerous junction. They have 5 driveways with 4 cars, or 5 or 6 cars. They haven't got 18 cars in the first 10 yards. Then when you go down the slip road into Sculthorpe, on the exit and entrance, on that line, which I've been talking about, the sight line, what you have there is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's about 6 driveways with 6 to 10 cars down there. There's a corner to the left, there's a corner to the right. People park their car to go dog walking, which is an unofficial dog exercise area. We didn't know that when we bought the house. It doesn't matter. It's unofficial, and I think that the root cause for this council is the fact that you believe that Rutland County Council's parking changes pushed people onto Stamford Road, and the Stamford Road residents rose up. You've simply migrated the problem to the Edmonton or the Alberta estate, Edmonton Way, Vicarage Road, Peterborough Avenue, or the other way around, and you left us out. Even Woodfield, is it Woodland View, have got the entrance that we would have wanted in the first place. As residents now, we know that we are the last road out of Oakham. And what that attracts are cyclists that go around Rutland Water. So now we're getting 4x4s and vans getting the bikes out. They're parking there for hours on end, straddling the curb very often. We're getting walkers who walk around Rutland Water, and we're getting the dog walkers who just pitch up again in 4x4s because the dogs are dirty things probably when it's winter, that's for sure. And because we are the first road into Oakham, very often we still get RCC visitors parking there, not necessarily RCC employees. Now we're well aware that another thing that happened, I've only just found out tonight actually that one of the emergency services couldn't get down one evening and they had to carry the person by stretchers, isn't that right? Who said that? Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. What I am aware of is the dustbin tomorrow morning. If there's a car park on the right, people coming off Stamford Road can't swerve if someone's coming out of their driveway. They'll hit that car. There's no margin for error. When the dustbin wagon comes tomorrow morning, if you look at the map, he turns in, he either turns right and empties their bins, and then he reverses all the way up to the Stamford Road houses up here. You okay for that? Absolutely.
Can you show it again, sorry, because I couldn't see it?
Yeah, sure. They come off Stamford Road and they go into that drive and they reverse all the way up here. When there's a car park there, they can't get round. I have a photograph. I have a presentation here, which I know I can't show you. I'd like to show you that one. If you'd like to see it, I can show you. But there's no way it can turn around. So what it does, it goes back up the service road and then it has to reverse towards the dangerous junction. So yellow lines is something that I know that you feel very passionate about. The reason why you rejected it last time was yellow lines are
2 minutes.
yellow lines are unsightly. They're not unsightly to the residents who live there. It'll only push the parking issue to Pilton Close. They have residents parking. Most of Pilton Close is dropped curb anyway, and we get them parking on the corners all the way through Schoolthorpe Close. And the displacement from RCC has waned. Thank you for that, RCC. They still get visitors that do it. So the request from the residents basically would be the yellow lines would be the answer for us, and we would be treated in exactly the same way as Stamford Road, Alberta Estate, Edmonton Way, Vicarage, Peterborough and Woodfield. And resident parking's in Pilton. So Pilton aspect isn't necessarily a problem because it's residents anyway. The houses were built with that road width by David Wilson Homes with the Planners Authority in Oakham, that parking, you either parked in your driveway or you had parking facilities behind, which is what Pilton and some of Schoolthorpe had. So, like lemmings, and that's what people tend to be, and we saw it with Rutland County Council parking there, if we are to allow this to continue, then the bikers, the walkers, the dog walkers will just emulate exactly what Rutland County Council has done with regards to their parking, which was the catalyst for our issue. We don't want it to degenerate into an area where it's unsafe with a very dangerous junction. None of the others have got a dangerous junction like we've got. And none of them have got so many vehicles in such a small proximity of that junction. And going around the corner, we have one more second. We have
3 minutes.
3 minutes. We have a situation which, Helena, maybe you would like to just relay that.
Well, I think you're down to speak, aren't you? So
Helena's on now.
yes, if you finish with Helen, thank you very much indeed. Helen, do you want?
Well, I'm in the unique position of being, I'm actually in Pilton, but if you look at the plan, I come off Sculthorpe Road, and that little road that goes to the play area, and so I often see cars parked, obviously straddling the pavement, blocking my exit, the neighbour's exit. We just cannot get out. In fact, I've been late for appointments because I couldn't get out of the drive. But the main concern is the children run out of the play area, the dogs run out of the park, straight down this little road into Sculthorpe Close, where Mark has quite rightly said the view is often obscured. A driver coming down there, and they're not always coming slow, would not see a child, a dog, running down that road. Emergency vehicles, delivery vans, collecting donations for heart concern vans. It's impossible if there's cars parked for long periods of time, which often happens with A, dog walkers, B, cyclists and walkers at Rutland Water. And so if yellow lines are implemented, I urge you to consider doing them exactly as the plan, down the little road and all the way along, because all I can reiterate, I live there and I see the dangers, and losing a child, a dog, or anything would be dreadful. So Mark has outlined excellently, and all I can say is I do hope you'll consider this very seriously, because it is going to be it's an accident waiting to happen.
Thank you. Mr. Quigley?
Well, I'd just like to reiterate what Mark had to say. Well, especially thank you for listening to me. There are not many points I could add to that, other than the fact that, as it stands at the moment, we as residents of Pilton, Sculthorpe, have no mechanism whatsoever to deal with the situation we were presented with, other than go out and have confrontational meetings with people, as has happened. I don't say the person who's gone out, but the person they've asked. There is anecdotal evidence of people being quite aggressive towards them. Now, that is a situation we don't want that to escalate. And I think, as Mark said quite rightly, all we're asking for is the same consideration that's been given to other areas where it's been recognised that because of the actions of others, parking has become an issue to residents of Oakham. And what's happening is we're funneling it down to the narrowest, smallest area in the vicinity. Sculthorpe is a finite space. Stamford Road wasn't. Edmonton Road. It caused a problem to those people. We live in a finite space that really it's very difficult to control with the people who live in that area because of the way vehicles. They've just grown. Houses have more vehicles now. So to have the added disadvantage, and purely and simply, to put it purely and simply, all we're asking for, in essence, is to make the junction of Sculthorpe Close as safe as it possibly can be, and not rely on good luck and good fortune that something doesn't happen. And as far as the yellow lines is concerned, I would rather have yellow lines than a funeral.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Quigley. Right, I have statement, I suppose, from the chairman, who's, I did say I would read a statement out on his behalf with him being away. Really just, he wanted to clarify some issues for himself. The residents and Council Low met on 23rd of July The residents were looking to Council Low to help understand how other applications with the same issues had gone through and theirs had not, and did understand the reasons behind the root cause is not being addressed by just moving the problem on. However, this issue is a real issue, and having taken on the positive comments and ideas from the last time this came to Council, and having met with Council Low to look at how best to try and tackle the issue in the light of other impact factors, they feel that the new application, which is very similar because of the road layout has not, because the road layout has not changed, or indeed that the issue has not abated, was the best approach. The residents would attend the meeting with views to giving their account in their own words, the additional impact factors that have also prompted this application. When the World Cup took place, there was a noticeable increase in the parking in this area. With the recent proposed fitness equipment going on the site adjacent to the residents' estate and no apparent parking being provided, the likelihood of users of the fitness equipment will use the estate as a car park. The new application is embracing some of the comments from councillors in that a combination of restrictions are implemented and that the application is supported by the Town Council, so that at the very least the residents, the town, the County Council can work together to help resolve the issues highlighted. So, after all of that, who wants to start the debate? Who's kicking us
Are
off?
we moving the
I
item?
was going to say, yeah, we need to do a vote.
Oh,
Do you want to?
Sorry.
What do you want to do? Do you want to do working groups? Or do you
No,
want
I'm right. With, if members agree, I propose that we move item 9 to now, and then we'll come back to working groups, item 7 afterwards. Then members of the public can vote if they wish. I propose that seconded by Daniel. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, so who wants to kick off the debate then? Peter, you want to come in, Peter, right, Councillor
Well,
Ryan?
really, I'd like to ask a question. When the public park on the curbside, which is illegal, of course, is there any action taken? Do the police come? Do parking wardens come?
No, we're the furthest road out of Oakham.
Sorry?
We're the furthest road out of Oakham. So it's easy for people to park the car there, knowing full well it's the first place in Oakham that doesn't charge or hasn't got yellow lines. So it's just easy for people to leave their cars there. And they do it for at weekend, by the way, for the whole of the weekend.
Yes, I appreciate that, but is any action ever taken? I mean, do you report the curbside parking?
Yes, I've actually reported it, and I was told that if I was blocked in, and they drive right up to the barrier into the children's play area, which means I can't get the car out, you know, people can't get in. And I was told I could call on the traffic warden, but it might be 3 or 4 hours before anybody could attend, which obviously is absolutely useless. So
the dumping
I've got no way. I've complained and spoken to people, and I think the police are so busy they don't bother with parking on pavements now. They just ignore it.
Okay. Okay. Anne?
You don't need to stand.
Yes, you do. It's full council.
Yeah, but the chain's not here. Sorry.
Okay. Sit down.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, either or.
Whatever.
I'm not a jack in the box, unfortunately. Right, I have the utmost feeling for you, but you're not the last road in Oakham, I'm afraid. The other side of Oakham is equally as bad.
Yeah.
Not the Lonsdale side, the other side. Where we live, it's like a chicane. The dustbin van can hardly get up. We have elderly, ill, infirm people in our road, and when the ambulance comes, which it does on several occasions, it's a nightmare. And although I do want to support you, it's not going to stop, because every time we get double yellow lines, more people are going to want them, so it's an absolutely no-go area. A colleague and I went to investigate, because we didn't know your road, with it being just a cul-de-sac sort of road, and we were quite surprised that there were empty driveways, but the cars were parked outside the driveways. We also noticed the residents' parking was empty, and this was on the weekend. This was on a Sunday we went, and so we just thought, yes, I can see why. But,
Sorry, did you say the driveways were empty
cars were on the road next to them.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not, sorry to interrupt you. It's not a question that we're debating now.
No, just say what
No,
found
no,
it.
no, the member of
I
public.
find that rather
It
odd.
would probably be in town.
Yeah.
No,
Probably
it's
in town.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor.
Have you
No, I haven't
finished?
finished, no.
Keep going.
And also, I understood that the play area that we're going to support, I believe, is going to have its own car park place. And if it's not, then I don't think we should have had it, because I don't know how many children live in this direct area, because you can't just let your children wander across the town in these days. You've got to take them for safety. And so if there isn't going to be a car park there, it's all gone.
Thank you.
Play area is fine.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment, Lily. I'm not sure about it myself. How much would you say it's an inconvenience, or is it a real danger? That for me is
Well, I think it's a great inconvenience, and
because
it's
we
very
live in a
dangerous.
road where it's
It's very
very
dangerous
inconvenient.
indeed.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
You're just asking if it was an inconvenience or a danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's not the regularity, it's the fact that if one van obliterates the sideline, you can't see, you have to edge out. When you edge out, you are creating an accident waiting to happen. And they will park they abandon them on the curb in the hope that they've left you enough room, but it's not that at all, they don't want the winger.
But surely
can I just stop you there, Paul? Because we're not having a two-way conversation now.
Yeah.
The public, unfortunately, you have had your 3 minutes. Members should not be asking questions. You should be asking questions through the chair.
We did try, put
Yeah, I know.
notices on the windscreen.
Who?
They were screwed up.
Did you want to come back now?
Yes,
No.
I do, yes.
Very quickly then.
Very well.
Oh, sorry. Can Martin had his hand. I'll come back to you in a minute, then. Martin.
Yeah, I will stand, because when I sat down I shut up. I have unfortunately not been involved in this because nobody actually approached me. I did leave it with Mr Lowe when we had some discussions with Mr Allen via email. I still, until that statement was read, didn't know what was going on. I have been quite a lot there because you can actually get all the way to where I live from there. When I come from Friends from one side of town and get all the way to Willow Crescent through that estate. So I know it very well.
Excuse me, by foot.
By foot, yeah, I don't drive, so by foot. But I had a concern, and one of the reasons why I voted last time, and it's my chance to explain to everybody, against it, is because we had a number of schemes, which was mentioned by Mr Hallam. Woodland View is the entrance to the road where I live. All it's done is push the problem into Willow Crescent. You have the problem in St Albans Vicarage Road, where we have an older population who rely on contractors. They all wanted this residence permit, complete ban of any vehicles, which now causes them a problem, because Rutland County Council, once you have this, enforce it. It's revenue for them, and they are there enforcing it every day. If they have Sky TV come down into their road, they can't be there because unless they can get into the residence drive. If they have a plumber, they can't go there. If they have visitors, they have to go to Rutland County Council and pay for a permit, which is what will happen if you have the route of residence permits in your road. And they've gone up, I think, nearly 200% this year. It's £45, I believe, a year for a resident permit, and that's for each car. So that was the reason I didn't support it, because I see the problems that this parking issue has created. It's become our problem because of changes at Rutland County Council. Jean Plews was a councillor who tried to help residents in my ward, but it didn't come to council then. Rutland County Council changed their process only recently, where we have the form. We're not experts on parking or whatever, so that was just what I see and what I hear is why I voted against your scheme. I'm not sure that I'm changing my mind tonight at all, because I've been there myself, as I was there last night at 7:30, and there was nothing through the top part, but down in Pilkington, is it Pilkington Close? Hilton Close. there were 3 or 4 cars parked on the pavement. Now, somebody asked a question about enforcement, and I have looked into all these things. Once you get double yellow lines, then RCC can enforce it. If people park on the other side of any line, it can be enforced. The only thing the time the police can come involved is if they witness the person driving on the pavement, because that's the offence. It's not a criminal offence to park on a pavement. It's a criminal offence to drive on a pavement. So that's why the police are always sometimes appear to be uninterested, because they can't actually do anything unless the officer sees it. So I'll shut up, but
Thank you, Martin.
but I just wanted you to know why I made the decision, and it is based on.
Yeah, thank you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to bring Jean in. Jean, would you like to?
Yes, it was one of the 2 things that, having read it, I've spent quite a number of weeks, because I have to drive down Stamford Road at least 3 times a day, actually monitoring the amount of cars down there. And there has only been an odd 1 or 2. So I wondered if the residents, first of all, had kept a log of when the cars are there and for how long, and whether it's the same cars or whether it's different cars. Whether or not the emergency services you were talking about, ambulances, etc., had actually made some sort of statement somewhere to say that this was unacceptable and was dangerous, especially for fire engines. Really just to try and get a feel of what, because I'm not seeing any cars there at any time, I was trying to get a feel of what the situation actually was.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say anything else? Daniel?
Thank you. To start off with,
I'll be coming back to you, Anne.
thanks for that. It was really, really informative. And reference that unofficial personnel, that's something we probably would need looking into anyway. Disability buggy, absolutely gutted for you about that one. That should never happen. It happens very near to where I live, and I live opposite the doctor's surgery, so I feel for you there. The parking regs, I understand on that junction, one of the things we spoke about last time, obviously when it came, was the fact that cars aren't supposed to park within so many metres of the junction, but it isn't adhered to by the police service. It's only supposed to be adhered to by the highway, so it's not actually enforced. So having the yellow lines down will probably make no difference anyway. I'm not against yellow lines. Okay, yeah, there is an element of that here which I fully understand, but if it involves having yellow lines or having someone spread across your windscreen, you have yellow lines. But a lot of us, including just before that night where we debated it, went down there, and because we got the paper at least a week before, we spent quite a lot of time going around. And I can only echo what Councillor Denier said, that we barely saw any traffic, but I don't think that's what the issue is. For me personally, I think the danger of that junction is more prevalent than anything else, because otherwise I'd be remiss in thinking this was a unique case, because when you look at places like Derwent Drive, they've got a hell of a lot worse situation than you have. And there's a lot of places around Oakham that I feel could benefit more, which isn't to say you couldn't, I'm just saying they would benefit more. So that's my reasoning for it. I'm not against the yellow lines, but I just don't think they'd work. Reference what I said about the reports to the police service. That's got to be a good way to go, even if, as you said, they won't do anything about it because they can't witness it. Having a log of events is always better to have when you're presenting evidence, me personally. So that's pretty much what I've got to say about that.
Joyce?
Just an observation, because the same thing is happening in my road. The problem with my road is that we're on a school run. This one is not on a school run. They have got just a playing field for children. We have got a playing field for children as well as children going to Catmouth, going to Brookhill. It's the whole of the town that is the problem. I'm sorry to have to say this, but this is not unique, members and chairman.
Thank you.
Just to echo, I'm a part-time wheelchair user and mobility scooter user as well, and that is a problem throughout the town.
Yes.
The curb parking, and it is dangerous and is an issue that needs to be addressed.
Right.
Can I just
One minute.
comment?
We're on the way back round, and I'm going to allow 2 more speakers. Anne was first. I'm going to allow Anne 2 minutes and Martin 2 minutes.
I don't need
Anne
to
first.
know,
Sorry, it is me.
You first, yes.
Yeah,
And we're going to move on.
I absolutely agree with what the recent people have just said, that it is a problem all over the town. We have a school, we are in cul-de-sac,
Yes.
it is horrendous in our road, and we have very elderly people, infirm and ill elderly people in our road, and they can't get in, and you certainly can't get out onto Bronson Road. It's a nightmare, and I just think we could all do with yellow lines, but we can't all have them. And if there was an accident, I'd never forgive myself. But I don't support it, because it's not just your road. And when you bought your houses, you could see the width of the road, I'm afraid. And there's all these driveways that were empty, with cars parked on the road just outside the houses. So I'm sorry, although I shall never forgive myself if there is an accident, it's not a one-off case.
Are you a clairvoyant?
Martin.
Excuse me.
Okay. Martin, you're the last speaker, and we're moving
What I
on.
wanted to
Be very
just
quick, please.
Reassure the residents, if we can, after all this, is this council many times has indicated to Rutland County Council that it needs to look at the whole of Oakham for parking. So you may not have known that, but we do know the situation, and some people have taken it wrong when I said it's not just your road. You know, we were aware of all the problems. We've got King's Road, which is supposed to be two-way. You can't drive a car up the middle of it most of the time, and we have persistently asked Rutland County Council, when parking issues have come over the years, to look at the whole situation of parking, and we can't, as a parish council, do more than that. So I'm sorry if you feel that we are letting you down, is what I was told.
Are members of the public allowed to speak at this stage?
Right, so,
Mr. Chairman, she only had a minute, and she's got 3 minutes allocated to her.
we've passed on to the. You had 3 minutes. That was her
I have one
opportunity.
question,
You can't.
No, we don't.
I have one question, which I will leave you with.
No.
We don't take. We are given by the way we work, I'm afraid, and I have tried to be very lenient with you this evening.
What was the decision process for Stamford Road, Alberta?
No idea. I wasn't on the council at that point.
Was that a town council?
We don't know.
I don't think you were consulted.
Right. So the proposal is to consider the following proposals and confirm whether or not the town council, 1, are in support of the proposal. Do I need a proposer and a seconder if we're going to move forward?
Chairman, can I propose an amendment?
I don't think you can, because we're being as a consultee to what's on the document. We've had this before, haven't we, where we said we would like to get it changed, and we're not allowed to, because we're being asked to comment on this document.
The trouble is, it's then black and white, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
either yes or no.
that's the trouble. Yes, this is where we get the problem we had last time, wasn't it? If you remember, because sometimes it'd be easier for us to say, well, we could support it if it was done like this, but that's not what we're being asked, I'm afraid. Daniel.
Sorry, if, whatever the result is now, would it be possible, I'm not quite sure on the protocol, is after this, to liaise with the residents and try and find a workaround that appeases everybody?
Councillor Lowe said he was going to do that.
We just need to do what's on here.
Yeah, so we can only do what our documents
I'm
state,
thinking for
unfortunately.
when it gets
Yeah.
brought back again, if there's a way of sort of
Because
getting...
we had the same problem on cricket lawns, if I remember rightly. So, is anybody moving it or not? No. So in that case, I'm afraid it fails. I am sorry, but that's the decision of the council.
The positive I take out of that is this young man said when it comes back again.
Never give, as I always say, never give up. It may be, speaking from the chair, it may be that to alleviate the problem is to only have double yellow lines at the beginning of the entrance.
Got them, they're about 5 yards, they're very short.
Then but then the entrance is
It's dangerous. You're quite right.
yeah, no,
Okay,
no, if
should
it's open. So unfortunately that has fallen. And I thank you for your time.
And Councillor Romsey, I thank you for voting for it last week. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
If I know I'm not allowed to speak, but what I would like to say, not a question, just a comment. I'm a little bit disappointed it turned into a competition of my road's worse than your road. We weren't here to speak about that, we were here to discuss.
I appreciate that. And as I said, we've had these before where unfortunately we have to take what's on the paper. We don't always agree with what's on the paper.
That's right, but it's a little bit
Okay, should we move on
disappointing.
then?
Yep. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Right,
So members, we're now going to move back to item 7. I'll just give members a couple of minutes to leave. Curtis, if you'd like to chair, do feel free.
I've discussed it, I'll have to speak to people. It's disgraceful.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, it's disgraceful that somebody's allowed to speak to a councillor like that. It needs to, sorry.
Yeah, well,
No, it's not allowed.
right, item 7, working groups and steering groups strategy, appendix B, which is the... Sorry, can we just shut the door, Martin, please?
I think they've gone.
So you should have a paper which was tabled this evening from the PPWG, which Sally Ann didn't know what she'd written, so... Sally Ann, are you taking this one? Well, obviously.
Well, they're in black and white, so, you know, you can read yourself.
Anybody wish to comment?
Yes.
Councillor Lucas first.
I'm disappointed that there has become a rift. No man is an island. This group has now alienated 2 groups in this town, namely Oakham in Bloom and Oakham Town Partnership. I object strongly to, on the agenda it said Sunday the 2nd of December switch on, and the shops were to open at 10 till 3. Best dressed window. Oakham in Bloom do this, but are very selective with the shops they ask. I'm sorry, Chairman, they ask over 40 shops in this town. So I object to that little bit. Now, Oakham in Bloom have been doing this competition now for 4 years and very successfully. And I'm sorry to say, the idea of one late night one switch on and one late night shopping is alienating now Oakham Town Partnership, and it says we have decided not to be involved. I'm sorry, we should be working with all groups in this town. Sorry, Chairman, that's my statement.
Sally Ann, do you want to... Oh, sorry, Daniel, do you want to...
Sorry, in response to that, fully gutted for Oakham and Bloom, if that's the way it's going, obviously, and they're the ones who've been doing it. If Oakham and Bloom are the ones who've been doing it, then...
For 4 years they have done it successfully.
Yeah.
People have understood, the shops know exactly what goes on and how it all works. Yes, I know there's a shield, and Oakham and Bloom have bought their own shield. And they have done it well, and I think I'm a bit gutted.
6 years.
Like
Member, thank you. One member, thank you.
that the wording of the agenda, it's not right. The agenda that we worked on the 23rd of July. I'm sorry, I strongly object to what's going on, and we should be supporting Oakham Town Partnership.
Sorry, Councillor, because I think you sort of preempted what I was saying there. You preempted what I was saying there. Rather than putting it as we're alienating others, since we're the primary body around here, shouldn't everyone be pulling together?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that doesn't just go one way, that goes both ways. If people are walking around with their nose in a sling, maybe they should be approaching us.
You should be talking to the chair.
Okay, right. Sally Ann, do you want to... Oh, Martin, quick comment?
Yeah, this is not new, this business with the late night shopping. We get this every year.
Yeah.
And I think probably it is quite a brave move to say stick it to them because the partnership only comes to us for money. It's not a partnership. I've said it publicly before. And, you know, they don't want us to have our light switch on at their late night shopping. So I can understand why that decision's been made. It's possibly something with the Oakham in Bloom thing. I do know that they do the windows because a friend of mine got heavily involved in that over a couple of years, and I did a lot of photography for them. But maybe on that can be a little bit more sensitive if that's happened with the group, that they work combined together on that. But my view of the town partnership is that it is not a partnership. And when people know what I think of it, it's a graveyard for former councillors of this council, and they don't do what they're supposed to do for a partnership. They are a glorified events company, and that is not what a partnership should be doing. It should be supporting the businesses, because we cannot, as a town council, support the businesses. And over the years, I've been infuriated when you hear we can't have our Christmas light switch on late night shopping, and we've had the most miserable things on a Sunday evening. Not that we haven't tried, you know, on our own under the Christmas tree. And it's sad that we can't get on, but I think we should try and keep with Oakham and Bloom on that window thing. I hope Sally's not going to be cross with me for saying it, but it could be a combined thing with the town council and Oakham and Bloom. But the partnership, I'm quite happy not to work with them on that.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I think in a way I agree with Joyce on this one. If they've been successfully doing the competition for 4 years, frankly, it would take a bit of work off of us if they continue to do that, and we can concentrate maybe on another function that could be
more work to do.
As for the town partnership, I don't really know enough about. I'll go along with Martin's comments on that.
Okay, Sally, and do you want to sum up?
I'm going to have to stand up.
They don't even want a representative, do they, Sally? They don't even want a representative from the council.
Let Sally Ann sum up on what's
This Oakham
happened.
in Bloom thing with the shop windows. The year that Pippi took it on, every shop was invited to participate. Now, you walk through the street today, you will see cards in some windows. I can't remember what it says, but it says something about Oakham in Bloom, and some of them have got little doves and things like that in there. But you will find it is the same half a dozen shops for the last 2 years that they get involved with this. It's the shop in the corner with flowers, it's Impact, it's, well, I could go on, but I'm not going to. But they are very particular who they involve. They've never, the only time they've ever come to see me was when Pippi was doing it. And I've had a shop in Oakham for 10 years, and only once have they invited me to join in. And that is the same with most of the traders in Oakham. If you're not in the crowd, you don't get invited. That is the reason why we have offered, because it's something that we've done before, to take it back under our hat. Okay? And what was the other thing? Late night shopping. We had a meeting with Oakham, I can't think what we'll call it now, no. It's a group that get together, that there's a representative from Rutland County Council. I go myself as a representative of Oakham Town Council. We have a representative from the Castle, we have representatives from everywhere except. And Caroline comes along, who is the Oakham Town manager. So we all get together. Now originally, the late night shopping was going to be on the 3rd of December, which we were fine with. We were going to do the light switch on and everything, not a problem. But then because of the NSPCC concert that's being held at the church, that date was changed because of car parking. And they decided to have it on Monday the 10th instead. Now we have spent an awful lot of money on Christmas lights this year, and we want to show those lights off and we don't want to lose it in the late night shopping
No.
on the 10th of December. So that will only give us, what, 2-3 weeks with lights? We want to use as much time as we can. And people start their Christmas shopping, well, probably, months ahead. But a lot of them like to have the lights on and say, right, it's December, let's go out and do our shopping.
Thank you very much.
And that is why I have proposed those two things.
Well done.
Joyce, I'll let you come back very
I
quickly.
refute the fact that only a few shops are ash. We don't only do shops. Oakham in Blue don't only do shops, they do businesses. All the banks, all the pubs and everything. I'm sorry, you're being misled you're being misled if you think
Mr. Curtis,
that we are, Oakham in Blue are selective in how they choose their shops. Now we have here something about tokens. It's been tried and it didn't sorry, if I can interrupt you, can I make a suggestion? Is it possible for you to contact the chairman of Oakham in Blue and see
Yes.
whether there's something you can do together and include all the shops?
Okay.
Would you?
I would suggest
Would that help? Sally Ann's going to contact the chairman and see whether we can work together to make it an even better event. No, I'm not getting more because Sally Ann summed up. Okay, so that's the report on that one. Thank you. Right, item 10, statement of accounts. Paper D. Anybody got on page anything on page 1? Page 2. Page 3. 4. Anybody?
Right, where are we? Because I've lost the plot now.
5.
Finance.
Finance. We're doing paper D.
I've got
Yeah.
page 1 on every page.
Well, no, the way they click together. The way they click together. Just make, well, it makes it easy. Why they do them the same way they click in your bundles.
I don't know what we're up to.
Right, cash bank account. Anybody on that one, page 1? The bank reconciliation for the same account, page 2. Current account, page 3. Transaction, Martin, sorry.
Sorry, I normally say at the beginning so members can be reassured I reconciled the accounts so that everything was okay.
Thank you.
Is that proposal, Martin?
Is that your proposal? You're proposing we accept them?
When I let you finish,
Oh,
I just wanted to remember
recent
I had
transactions,
reported to
page
members
1,
that I'd
page
reconciled.
2. Reconciliation of the statement, page 3. Sorry, page 1, page 2. Next recent transactions. You ain't got to click through them, man. First page. And the reconciliation for the petty cash and the petty cash account. Anybody got anything on that? No? I so move on that one.
Yeah.
All those, that was seconded by Sally Ann, I think.
Yeah.
All those in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. And item 2 is the, I've lost myself here. Members to consider the financial budget. So that's appendix D1. First page. Second page. Anybody got anything on those? No? I so move. Seconded by Councillor Jones. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. We're on to item 11.
As we're doing in block.
Everybody with me on item 11. Authorisation of payments by resolution of the Recreation, Planning and General Purposes Committee. I'd like to move them on block. We've already decided this is just to ratify those. So I will move all 3 payments.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Martin. I think Martin was up first. Martin?
See, I can't see him.
No, sorry. It's okay.
I was going to second it.
Oh, sorry. Anne, very.
All right, just going to say that it was very pleasing on Sunday morning when we went on our tour around the town to see so many people playing nicely with parents on the recreation ground. It was very pleasing.
Thank you. So, sorry, I've proposed it. Martin, you've seconded it. All three. All those in favour?
Oh,
That's carried unanimously. Thank you. It was only ratification of, or decisions already made. Item 12. Authorisation to pay invoices over £5,000. To authorise payments of the following. 1. The Christmas decorations. Invoice number 100223 for £9,380 plus VAT. That's 50% of your commission. I think we all agreed that anyway. Do I have a proposal? Proposed by Anne, seconded by Paul. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Number 2, Martin Coman Limited, invoice number 6048-6042-40515K for £57,359 plus VAT. This is for the reconstruction of the upper and lower paths in Cuts Close. Martin.
Now, I'd like to make a comment and say it's minuted that I will be objecting to this payment in the way I objected to the work being carried out due to the fact that the council failed considerably by not getting more than one quote for this work. There's been a lot of public opinion, as you can say, it's social media, but on our own Facebook page people have criticised the expenditure, and some experts, as how I describe them, have said, like I've been told by people who work in the field, that this shouldn't have cost more than £25,000. But we can only go by what people say. But my biggest concern is that the lack of quotations for large expenditure, and it shouldn't happen again. It is a bit of a mess at the moment as well, because I read all the comments and I thought I'd go and have a look. Particularly around the tree at the top end, all the soil is now over the pavement. Some of the edging stones are damaged. The measurements are different at different stages. The lower end by the skate park is not the same width. Now we had quotations which were pretty, simple and plain, but it's not been stuck to. And I'm very concerned by what the public describe as a mess, because I did watch what was put beside there, and most of it's rubble infill with a very light topsoil on top. So I think we are going to have some problems with that. I don't think we're going to have problems with the path, but I am disappointed that it's not to the specification of the plans, and that we didn't get 3 quotes, and that's why I'll be voting against it.
oh, sorry.
No, Joyce?
Only to say that we attempted to get 3 quotes. We've got a nod from the clerk. Nobody was interested. It was passed at the price that they stated, and now it just needs to be paid. That's what we're being asked, is it not?
Yep. Paul?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same as Joyce. How many quotes did we seek and how many did we get? In the end,
One.
We've got one. Well, what can we do?
And Councillor Lowe tried twice.
I was going to say, if
I can't hear.
One at a time, please.
if what Martin has said, they haven't fulfilled what they have stated they're going to fulfil, then we can either ask them to rectify it, which is allowed, or we can ask for a discount. If it's not as per plan all the way through, we can do that before we pay it.
Yes.
Peter?
You can take a tape measure.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I mean,
Anne, please.
Sorry.
if there's any doubt about whether the work has been completed to our satisfaction or specification, the way forward is to hold back a sum until we're clear that everything is in order. How we achieve that, I don't know, but the mayor has some expertise in this, whether him and the clerk could look at the work and decide.
Yes, we could. Are you making that as a proposal that we defer payment until?
Well, defer some of the payment. I think we should pay the bulk.
No, half.
No, well, I need a proposal. Right? If you want to make that as a proposal, then make it as a proposal and we'll vote on it.
I would propose we hold back £5,000.
Okay, so proposal is that we hold back 5,000. That's from Peter. Do I have a seconder? That's seconded by Sally Ann.
Can I make a counter proposal?
You can make it an amendment. Well, you can make, yes, you can make a counter proposal, but we have to take Peter's proposal first, unless you're making an amendment. So, what's your counter proposal?
My counter proposal is that 5,000 is not sufficient to knock off, because something costing that much, I would say perhaps we pay 45,000 instead of 57,000. Would somebody second me?
Would you be happy with that, Peter? No. So you're still.
Nothing.
Okay, so we have to take the first motion first, obviously. If that fails, then we can take Anne's proposal. So the proposal is that we pay everything other than £5,000, and that we get the mayor and the clerk to have a look at the work before we pay.
Sign it off.
Before we pay the rest. Was that the
Yeah, it's fine. Sally Ann.
Sally Ann, that's right, yes. So that is the proposal we're voting on. If that fails, we'll then come to Anne. So all those in favour of that proposal? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 abstention. So that falls.
Can I make a proposal, Chairman?
No, we're going to take this proposal first.
Oh, sorry,
And proposal first.
So that's to pay 45,000.
45,000.
Proposed by Anne and seconded by Jean that we only pay 45,000 and the mayor and the clerk liaise. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3. Those against? 1, 2, 4.
So nothing stands then, we just pay the whole lot.
No.
Yes.
Right, so that's
I'd make a proposal, please.
one abstention again.
The proposal is we defer all payment and the area is inspected, obviously when Mr. Lowe comes back, and he will see the issue round the tree by the churchyard and the damage, and if need be, they'll have to measure it. Visually you can see the other part is smaller, and the plan was they were supposed to be the same width.
Okay. So don't debate. Make a proposal. What's your proposal?
Payment is deferred.
Payment is
It
deferred.
seems sensible because
Is that seconded?
and then the clerk and the chairman will.
Daniel.
I can't hear because of the chatting.
What Martin has proposed is that payment is completely deferred until the chairman and the clerk have a chance to have a look at it. So that is. Do we want
also rectify it?
Do we want to allow payment if all is found well? So I'm just thinking if we don't want to wait for another month or having to wait for it to come.
I think it's deferred until they've rectified the issues, because there's damage. We paid for new things and there's damaged slabs inside and things, and that path is undersized. The idea was that was
Right, so all those in favour of deferment of the payment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those against? 2. 1 abstention. That is carried. Thank you. Item 13, paper E, which is really just to bring everything together for the Recreation Planning and General Purposes Committee, so that we don't have to keep bringing finances back to full council to get on. Is that correct?
Yes,
you want to
right,
add anything, Alison?
No.
Martin?
Yeah, I've read it and I'm happy, but I did want to make one addition.
Yes, Martin,
I'm happy sometimes.
what would you like to add in?
I'm going to make an addition, and that's to do with the inspections of the of the parks. When we used to have parks and planning, the report from Whitstable used to come to council with actions, and the clerk would explain what's been done or what's to be done. So I'd like that to be put in the terms of reference. And then if possible, because we're not allowed to inspect the play area, the old clerk used to regularly inspect the parks. So if the clerk's report could contain a monthly inspection report of the park, so then we know what's going to be happening.
Just to bring you in on that one, actually, if at a committee meeting, we as a committee decided that we were going to have an inspection of all our parks, we could do that. You can't do it individually, but you can as a committee with permission. With permission from, obviously, we would decide that is what we're going to do. You can do that. That's correct, is it not?
Yeah.
So we could have an afternoon, if you like. We could organise one afternoon, and we'll go around and inspect all our parks and gardens and so on. Okay. So anybody else got any comments on the terms of reference?
That has to be voted on for the extra thing to be put in.
So to add the inspection reports onto this meeting.
And then decisions to be made on that at the committee.
Is everybody clear on that? Everybody happy with the amendment?
Yes.
Are you moving that?
I am.
Okay. Seconded by and all those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Right, working group structure. To appoint one new member to the finance working group and one member to the policy and procedures working group. Any volunteers?
No. Oh. No, I've had enough of it.
Anybody? Zoe, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll throw my hats in the ring.
What, both?
Why not?
Thank you very much. Okay, so that's Councillor Jones on both of those. That's what I'd like to see. One volunteer.
So, are you proposing that?
I'm proposing.
I'll second it.
All those in favour? Unanimous.
Thanks, I'll be in
Which was his mind, yeah.
Right, moving on. Item 15, rental agreement for the Christmas decorations, Appendix F, to decide whether to authorise the signing of the rental agreement. You all had a chance to read it. Any comments? Paul, you've been heavily involved in this. Are you?
We've met many times, and Alison, the representative, went through fairly closely on 2 occasions, in fact. But we were happy with what was drawn up.
Okay. Alison, do you want to add anything?
No.
Anybody? Any other members wish to add anything? So I've got to have a proposal.
Actually, there's one thing I will say. I forgot to say to you. Yesterday, some pieces have arrived back from Light that were missing.
Right.
So, only arrived yesterday. They're in my office. Obviously, we held back some money, so this is obviously going to be. So this is obviously there. I think they go on the. Looking at the size of them, I think they go on the lamppost. So we need to discuss, because obviously, if you want to with this, then there's obviously going to be a cost associated. But we'll discuss that.
Now we've sorted this out, but we can.
Yeah, that's fine.
So do I have? Are you moving?
Yeah, go on.
Proposed by Paul, seconded by Daniel. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Right. So next we have planning. And we've just asked you four if you could just move.
We need to pull the screen down.
Because we're going to pull the screen down so we can see. What I propose to do is we're going to take.
You can move if you want to move the chair. So
item 1 first, obviously, because Mr. Curtis would like to have his 3-minute talk on it, and then I shall take item 3. Mrs. Clough would like to speak on that one, and then we'll go back and finish the rest off, because they're the only ones we've got speakers on. Is that okay with everybody?
Did you want to get a chair? Are you sure? There's a. You can. Oh, okay.
And if we, on the first one, which is a full application, is a replacement care home for 8 residents plus with alterations in the existing care home, create 7 independent apartments with additional care. And I will just say at this point, we are not discussing any involvement that the town council has as a landlord. This is purely a planning application.
I've made a mistake on my declaration of interest. I've said number 6. I don't know why it should have been.
I put down number 1. I put down number 1. That's all right. I was ahead of you there, Martin.
Okay, that's all right, Martin.
I'll need to alter that in the book.
Okay, so
which one are we doing now? 1.
we're going to do number 1, which is 2018-0646 full.
So there's, right, okay. Can everybody see the, that's not a good one, is it? Oh, there.
Oh, there we are.
There you go.
Is that the access to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the access to the site.
Existing.
This is the existing plan.
Proposed. Can I speak, Chairman? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes.
I spoke.
Just because what we're going to do, we're going to go through the application first. We'll get all the information, look at all the drawings, then we'll allow you 3 minutes to speak, and then we'll make our deliberations.
I spoke to them today. Right, okay. So currently there's 7 independent. There's 10 bedrooms, but they're not all en suite. And currently there's 7 independent units with long and short term stays. So on the land at the back of it, which is just at the moment is a piece of land with 2 football goals and a shed. Yeah. They want to build. Yeah. They want to build 8 bedrooms, all with ensuite. And the original building, and then currently just changed the use from. So they want to rebuild an 8 bedrooms with an ensuite. Currently, there's 7 independent units for long short stay. So they want to keep that, change of use, and then build at the back of it.
Oh, but it says replacement care home. It says replacement care home. So I presume you're pulling it down.
It's not. No, it's
so
additional. They're changing. It's they want to rebuild 8 bedrooms, 8 bedrooms with ensuite, and then the current building. That will just be a change of use, and the land that's in front will just remain the same.
Yeah. That's not what it says though. It says replacement care home.
We can deal with how it comes from planning.
But deal with what it says on the agenda.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say that.
And also the building that they're proposing to build is 2-story.
No, it's single. It's that one. That's is that the existing? Oh, that's the existing.
That's
Big pardon.
existing,
Sorry, that's the
which will
existing.
remain.
Yeah, hang on. Let's go to propose. Sorry, I have to.
So that must be where you mean the 2-story.
Yeah.
Because on their own website they talk about how they're going to utilise these.
So as we look at the plan there of the I take it the existing is at the bottom here. Oops.
Sorry, I was just trying to.
That's okay. So the existing, I take it, is at the bottom, and the new bit is at the top, or is that all new? Oh, thank you, Mr. Gill.
That's the existing.
Thank you.
And that's
proposed. Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's not really an extension; it is a new build. It's a separate building, isn't it? But yeah. Okay. And anything else? Anybody want any other more information? Can we have a look at
the existing building, in terms of people who live in there, was built long ways on. So you've got the end of the building,
yes,
single story. The proposal is 2-story and built with the windows facing the houses at the back. So instead of having a
Oh,
brick
right.
wall,
Yep.
it is all windows, and it's 2-storey. So it's a
Have we got
definite
the
change
sorry,
altogether.
I just wanted I am listening, I just want to go back to the original plan that shows the site, just so we can see.
Location.
Yeah, please. So, I'm trying to get your head round this, haven't you? So,
I've been out to look at it.
oh, okay,
This
thank
evening.
you, Jean. So, that's the original building, and the other one's going to go where, the top corner or the bottom?
It's going to go to the side, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no room there.
Just if you would, yes, if you would, just go to
This is the existing building.
Yes, thank you.
And the extension is due to go
On that
There.
bit, right.
as a 2-storey building with windows facing that way.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
These are the residents of Claresholm Close.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very helpful. That's what I was trying to work out in my head where we were. So, do we know? We won't know. Have we got plan? If you go back to the previous drawing, I'm sorry. I'm just what I'm trying to work out
Proposed.
is yes, please. Yeah, is the whether they are bedrooms, living rooms, or bathrooms overlooking the residence, because that will determine.
Well, in the roof, if you read it's a Roughland Community Housing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you read their website, which I've done this evening, it discusses the fact that in the upper part of it is actually going to be used as office.
Right.
Some of the use. So I take your point about what sort of windows it's going to be. And I honestly don't know.
All I'm thinking, and I know I haven't got anybody else in, all I'm thinking is that if it's overlooking and it's
The resident.
overlooking the resident. If it's a bathroom, we can insist on opaque glass. If it's a bedroom, it's a bit more difficult to insist on opaque glass. So I'm just trying to work out where we're.
And if it's the office.
Yeah, if it's the office, we could ask them to put opaque glass in, because you don't need to sit in an office and look out the window.
May not
No.
be the need to do that. Having been this evening at the request of the residents, it's all sort of happened. I went to the 2 residents here into their garden, because at the end of the garden is the brook, and then you look over to where this is going to be built. They're not actually saying no to the build, but the original build, there was an agreement and it was acted on that they put a large amount of trees.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what trees. And that is what they're now wanting to do so. And I think the other point, which is I think quite a sad and serious point, is that that charity organisation who know they've put in this plan have never ever gone to these residents at any point and said, this is what we're going to do, can we work together on it? They've just totally ignored them, which is not good practice. And they have, they have in fact written to the planning about it. But I think to me, the residents are very, very reasonable. They just want it blocked off. But that isn't a proposal in the plan.
No, but we can put any of this we can put as comments.
I spoke to the planning, Nick Hodgett, and apparently none of the trees are going to be felled. Does that make some difference?
No, but they're not trees. That they lose their leaves. The area of trees are trees that would affect these 2 houses on this build are trees that when the winter comes have no leaves on.
Right.
The original build had, are they called deciduous?
Yeah.
And so consequently the whole year round that is blocked off with trees.
Deciduous lose the leaves.
No, we don't want those.
No. Right. Any other members want to make a comment? Martin? Oh, sorry, Anne. I'll bring you in a minute.
I'm glad some residents went to achieve this.
No, unless you live near
they might not know, because I live in Willow Crescent and there aren't no planning notices up for this, which is something I'm going to take up with Rutland County Council, because last time when this organisation wrote to the council, I put it on my blog, and I got lots of contact from people, oh my goodness, we don't want this. And I said, well, this is just a letter. Now this council, we've been told tonight we're not doing landlord thing, but I think it's very important we do landlord thing, because I'm a leaseholder in Willow Crescent, and in my lease it very clearly says anything I want to do on their land, I have to approach the landlord. I feel we've had very, very little consultation with our tenants, and I would hope, we can't stop them putting in planning applications, but we could get to the situation where we find, because I've been asked to make a proposal this evening, when we get the legal people involved, there could be a covenant on the deeds, because you've got to remember this was allotment land, and they've acquired land from us recently as well, which must remain allotment land, and that's my concern. But also the reason why I will be voting against it is to get all those little pieces. It's very similar to the allotment situation that's happened recently. It hasn't got a proper road to this site. Once we get independent living, this will come with extra support, which means extra vehicles. And if they say that the situation in Brook Road is unsuitable and dangerous, then the entrance to Willow Crescent is it's the end of the world, because it is just a concrete path. As a councillor, I don't know who owns that. These are things we've got to look into, and that. And so my proposal is from the table, and hopefully it'll be seconded. I don't know when you want it.
Not yet, because Mr. Curtis, when Anne's spoken,
but the
Mr. Curtis,
proposal
and then
is I'll give my proposal now so people can think about it, is that the clerk is given permission to have further consultation with our solicitor to find out what can actually go on that piece of land. Because we don't want to be saying, yes, we approve, and then we find out through some clever resident, because they will do it. I've done it for other organisations, dug out their deeds and trusts and things, and found that you can't do something. So that would be my proposal, that we ask the clerk to speak to our solicitor to find out what can actually be done. Because I don't really understand the agreement. I have seen it, and I asked for it, but we need to see the deeds rather than just the rental agreement. But apart from that, the reason I will be voting is purely the lack of consultation with people, and also the safety issue and all the additional services that will be required to support these independent living people.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Anne? I've got Anne and then Peter.
I was just going to say some things that Martin's already said. As far as I'm concerned, they've broken the law by not consulting the neighbours and not putting up things in the road. So it's not, if we don't even think about it, they've broken the law.
That's not the applicant. That's down to the county council. And I will be proposing when we make our comments, that we will be saying that we're a little bit disturbed about the lack of neighbourhood notices. No, I'm finished. Because, I'm sorry, it is a legal obligation, so therefore Rutland County Council have broken the law themselves, which is not surprising. And then the second thing is that the way it's worded on here, it is not what is happening. It's not a replacement, it's an extra building, which is going to be 2 stories, overlooking some houses that don't want to be overlooked. So I absolutely am against this, totally. You see, just before I bring Peter, you see, the way I read it is a replacement care home. The bit they're building is it's just the way that it is a replacement, and then they're going to make alterations to the existing.
They're not. No. They're not. It's a completely new building.
Okay. Well, they are. Yes, I know. I agree with
so
that. Peter, and then I've got Paul. And then we're going to move on.
I think we're deviating from the agenda. I mean, we're looking at a planning application. Yeah. People can put in a planning application for whatever they want. I can put a planning application in your garden.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we need to stick to the facts.
Yeah.
I think the concerns that have been raised, I sympathise with. But we need to look at the application as it stands, what the residents are saying, and not get sidetracked. We are aware of the other issues, of course.
The residents don't know.
I'm just going to say, is Martin actually proposing that we put this on the back burner until we hear from
Well, the trouble is, if you defer this now, we will not have any comments on it, because this will then, the county council, we will run out of
it's going to
period, and
yeah,
they'll
I asked for an
without
extension on it, and they've said no. So it really needs an
so
answer.
this is your problem. You can't defer it. You've got to make a decision on it. You either agree with it or you disagree with it. That's the thing. Right now, no more else. In Mr. Curtis, you have 3 minutes, sir. Now you've heard what we've got to say.
Well, I must admit, actually, you've actually virtually said all that I was going to say. Could I ask you to put up the slide of the application? And what was the full proposed plans, was it?
Which one? This one?
I think it was that one. No, it was this one. It was the one underneath it. This one. Okay. And if you throw it back up to the top. Okay. This is the south elevation. If I could just briefly describe it. The gardens at the rear of Claresholm Close are north-facing gardens. This is the south elevation of the new extension, whatever you want to call it. This is the new build. Okay. So this is the building. This is the view that the residents in Claresholm Close will have. The current building is a single-storey construction, and it's proposed to build a two-storey structure which will directly overlook the backs of our houses. As Councillor Dennis said this afternoon. It's inevitably going to impact our privacy unless, if you could scroll up, scroll down. Okay. The Claresholm Close houses are along here, and there is currently a line of conifers which shields the old building, the existing building. Okay. So we're very concerned that this is directly going to overlook our gardens unless that hedge, that line of conifers, is extended. Okay. We don't consider we're asking for a precedent in the sense that this was agreed 30 odd years ago when the original building was erected. We're also concerned that the doubling of the size of the Willowbrook will actually see a significant rise in footfall, and we're very anxious about the security between such a development and the backs of our properties. There's a need to construct some sort of substantial security fence between the proposed hedge and the Willowbrook building. That fence would not only safeguard against clients or staff accessing the brook, using the brook that runs down the middle there, but it would also prevent unauthorised access to the rear of our gardens, which are not secure. Our third point is that there have actually been numerous instances in the past where noise has been a problem. Okay. Not only from the clients shouting out, but also from staff playing very loud music in the sunshine, maybe opening the windows, and then you have to enjoy it all day long. Doubling the size of the facility, and you can see from the footprint that it will be just about doubled. Doubling the size of the facility certainly won't reduce the noise that impinges on our properties. And we feel that measures to curb or contain that intrusion should be necessary, should be put in.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well said.
Right. Joyce.
I didn't think it was 30 years, but I remember this building being built, and the controversy was then. There is a problem somewhere in the past that where they're attempting to build again, it's something to do with the allotments, and it's got to go to the Secretary of State to do something about allotments that are no longer allotments. I think we've got to be extremely wary of all this. And I sympathise with the loud music. I mean, I get it at home. But, you know, it's not in the right place. There has been a lot of trouble over the years. I think Mr. Mowbray will back me up on that one. I'm sorry, but I object to this
Okay, so
strongly.
do we have some proposals for this application? Martin?
Well, obviously I have the proposal that, because obviously Joyce has mentioned the Allotment Act, and that's been my concern
Yes.
with what we've been doing down there over the years. It is protected land. So my first proposal would be that we authorise the clerk to seek advice from the solicitor on what can be done on that.
Yeah, but we need to do
land.
this one.
But the truck, what,
We can do that afterwards, Martin.
yeah, can we, if we deal with this and then we'll come
But we can
we'll-
make a comment, if we approve that, we can then make a comment with whatever we're sending to Rutland County
Yeah.
Council to say, we are seeking advice, and then they
okay,
will.
what I'm trying to say is that
They will
if we
delay.
don't
No.
make a decision on this tonight,
Yeah, I was going to move to that
Oh.
as well.
Yep.
Whether we needed to do the first bit that we're going to
no, deal with the planning application first, then we'll come back to your other proposal if we can, please.
Is that it's rejected on the grounds of the increased traffic and nuisance to neighbours. You see, then when they kindly mentioned the
overdevelopment
fence
of the
they
site.
wouldn't be able to have an offence because this was mentioned down at Brook Road. The Environment Agency says the brooks can't be fenced off because they might need to access it for flood management. So they can't have a fence, unfortunately, you know.
So what's he
So
proposing?
what is the
I'll propose something.
No,
But the
Martin's made
proposal
a...
is that we reject this application.
Overdevelopment on the grounds of overdevelopment of the site
And
and
also
poor
access.
Increased traffic, nuisance,
access.
And poor
to
access to
poor
the site.
access.
It doesn't have proper
Okay.
highway access to it.
So that is a proposal. It's been seconded by Councillor Jones. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. And also, can we put a note on there that we're a little bit perturbed? Members of the public say there have been no planning notices issued.
We did actually get a letter from the council 2 weeks ago.
All right. Thank you very much.
The letter was dated the 20th of July.
They probably get letters very close if you
Yeah.
look at the figures.
Right,
saying
right, Martin. Now, what
but the notices can be anywhere in the
yeah.
town, unfortunately.
Right, Martin. So you're also moving on that item.
Yeah,
Side proposal that we
Department
seek
of
advice about what can be done with the
Authorisation
land. Is that
With
correct?
our solicitors to look up the deeds of the land
And-
and what can be and cannot be done with the land.
And the expenditure, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's proposed by Martin,
Because you're allowed to do expenditure on
Yeah.
it.
seconded by
Fine.
Jean. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Oh, hang on.
Peter, are you abstaining?
Abstaining.
Abstaining. So that's how many have we got now?
9.
9 and 1. Right, so that's dealt with that one. Thank you, Mr. Curtis, for your. So we're now going to move on to number 3, which is 2018-0490 Macadam, single storey rear extension, alteration to existing rear elevation, and additional new roof lights, 3 Penn Street. And we're going to go through it first, and then Joy wants to come in and speak. So let's go through the drawings first, if we may. Right, so this is the proposed
This one.
elevation.
We're just moving.
We're just moving. Is this the Rutland Town office?
No, Penn Street's the single one. It goes down
Across the
by
road.
I know.
So single storey at the end with a roof light, and then roof lights in the. I presume that's the front elevation, is it?
Yeah, that's a
Is that? Oh yes, is the east elevation the rear? Do we know?
No, I'd say the east is the front.
The east the front. So we've got
East is
two.
the front, the west is the rear.
Thank you. So we've got 2 windows in the roof. So we're going to open the roof up, and then we've got the single storey extension with develops in at on the south elevation. By look at that. Oh, and then on the back as well. Yeah.
Anything from neighbours?
Not I'm aware of.
No, nothing from
No.
neighbours. Oh, yes, there is.
We'll go in a minute. There's no written complaint.
No. Can we look at those plans again that you just put down again? That's it. Gosh, it's huge.
I'm still confused where
This
it
is the bus club, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
The way? I don't know.
You know what the bus club is? When you walk down from Tesco on the right, it's the bus club, and then.
No, it's that little road that's one way where they're building all the big
Yeah, that's
new
what I'm
ones.
saying.
Yeah, I know where it is
Yes,
now.
I know where it is.
Right.
Peter, did you want to come in?
Well, there's a question that the roof lights, is there an extra room where the roof lights are? Why are the roof lights?
There's a second floor.
Second floor. Oh, it's that second. Look, they're making a fifth bedroom. They're making a fifth bedroom on the second floor. Look, where Alison's little hand is.
What?
Or a foot, depending on which part of the anatomy it is. It looked like a hand to me, but. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? No. Joy. Oh, sorry.
Is bedroom 3 a new bit as well? Or
No. It's just one at the top.
Alright. So what are those two little roof things there then?
They're roof lights in the lower extension. I'm gonna bring Joy now if she'd like to. You can talk from there, Joy, if you wish. No.
Thank you, John. It's only a minor objection, but this is one of a pair of really substantial, very good quality early Edwardian houses, and they're in a conservation area. The frontages of them have a matching pair of arched openings with the doors set back with the original tiles on the side. And the back, which is not overlooked by very many people, probably I'm probably one of the only households that does overlook it, apart from the flats at Summer Road, is an unimproved original exterior of a matched pair of buildings. We have no objection, and what they're doing is they're taking out a window to put in patio doors, and they're putting a single-storey extension with two roof lights to extend it, and taking a bit of wall out here so they're going to have on the ground floor, so they have a kitchen and dining room area. And this is already two-storey. At the end here is a small one-storey extension, original extension, which was the original wash house. It may actually still have the original copper in it. And it is one of a pair. So when you look at the back of these houses, this small extension here, single-storey extension, is matched by the one next door, and each of them has a small square brick chimney matching on the back above their coppers of the washroom. And as a pair of unimproved Edwardian houses, they are really quite rare. And in this conservation area, I think it would be nice to keep that feature. It wouldn't make a huge difference to the people living there, because to keep the chimney, it's going to be a utility room. So if they were keeping the chimney, it wouldn't make any difference to what they're doing inside. Maybe the bit of brickwork that come down, they could still put a worktop or a sink underneath, because I don't know whether the original copper is still there. But I think the chimney, since it matches the one next to it, and I have a photograph taken from above that shows you the two single-storey extensions with their matching chimneys, it really is a rare survival, and I think it would be a shame to lose something that's part of heritage. And if it was my house, I would be proud to keep it. In fact, I'd probably keep the copper and find a way of using it. But you know, I'm not objecting to any of the way of making the house usable. Families do have to expand, and it will be a really nice extension, and it won't impinge on the integrity of the building itself. There's nothing that they're doing that some purist couldn't put back at some point, apart from the chimney. But you take the one chimney down, you then have the back of the building with two matched out houses and only one chimney.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Right, who wants to kick it? Oh,
You said, I understand you said that it's in a conservation area.
Yes.
So what is the conservation officer saying?
we only have one, I think, for one afternoon a week, isn't it, or something? We share it.
Haven't got round to
No, we don't have our own. We don't have our own.
Because it sounds very special.
It's a really interesting, it's a good, solid, good example, and there aren't that many of that size and style that's like. Certainly not unimproved with intent.
Could I just ask a quick question? If we agreed it as it stands with the preservation of the chimney, would you be happy?
Yes, that's what we suggest.
Martin?
Yes, well, I think, have you I can call you Joy.
Yes.
Can I just ask, has Joy put this, because I haven't had a chance to look at all the responses, have you put this to Rutland County Council?
Yes, we have written a letter explaining exactly
So I would
photographs.
like to, if it's the same as what you've said this evening, I would like to support that as a council if people are willing, and that helps it also keep it, because I'm quite a fan of keeping some of the old features of the town.
Okay.
We have to compromise and make them livable. And I think we also suggested, because they kept the chimney, they were going to put two relics in that little piece at the end, and we suggested they should both be on the same side, which is the side away from the chimney, rather than one each side. But that would be the chimney.
Proposal, yeah.
Paul, what do you
So have you actually talked to people there and got there?
I didn't know whether I should or not. One could go around and explain very nicely that they have something rather special and would they like to think about keeping it, but then they might be very aggravated if there's a neighbour's objecting to part of their plans. So I really didn't. I thought I would. I took photographs. I was going to go and take what was there, and my daughter said, "Oh no, you don't have to do that." So
Is it possible that someone else might go and talk to them?
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Well, it's land, it's conservation land.
You talk to me, the conservation officer.
Peter?
Well, it's a conservation area, and I think we should be mindful of that, and the county council. It's a pity that the conservation officer is notable by his absence. I mean, at one time we had a full-time person, but they still do some work. So I would hope that can be the case. One of the considerations of the conservation area is to preserve the street scene. And I think the point has been well made that by knocking a building down about like this, you're not preserving the street scene, you're spoiling it. So I would suggest that we give not approval, but we support the application, but with the preservation of the chimney.
Yep. Are you making that your proposal?
That's my proposal.
Do I have a second? Does anyone else want to speak on it? Very quickly now.
The two extra little window things on the same side and opposite the chimney is, I've forgotten your name. Joy said, add that to it as well.
Okay, do you want to comment on that? So are you happy with that, Peter, that the developed windows are all on one side, not
opposite the chimney?
Yes. We got that, Yep, okay, yeah. So that is the proposal that we have. Seconded, proposed by Peter, seconded by Anne. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to go back to, I am mindful of the time, and we do need to get to the exempt item, so some of the, do you want to do the exempt first?
Yeah.
And these two, and we'll come back to planning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's crack on then. We're going to go back to item 2. Yeah, Mr. Cotter. Alteration to roof, installation of solar panels, new boarding and rendering to external walls, provision of a canopy, creation of an opening in the first floor side elevation, alterations to the first floor bathroom window and a new front bay window at 23 Trent Road.
Looks like the old house.
Someone else. That was the way in.
Is all right?
Oh, I'll be open.
How do you get back? Number 2.
Yeah.
Right. There it is. Quite a lot.
It's quite a large plot. They are. They're stood quite back from the Trent Road, aren't they? Here's the proposed.
Oh, wow. Is that the rendering? Those funny wiggly.
Yeah, that's the rendering. Yeah.
How does it put that on? What is it?
Trowel. Put on with trowel.
Is it cement?
Yeah, I would imagine it's cement, and then painted. I would imagine.
Oh, glory.
And then boarding on the windows, which they do a lot of that, don't they?
Is it okay to go back onto the asterisk?
The plan?
Which one?
Yeah.
The site plan.
Can you say, I know Trent Road very well, because I go along there quite often to drop somebody off when I'm giving somebody a lift. And I don't think that fits in with any of the other houses in the road.
Okay. Daniel?
Where's the northern orientation from there? Sorry, I can't tell.
North.
Where's north from there?
Brook Road's on this end corner over here, if that helps.
So that's Brook Road.
No, that's not Brook Road. That's I've forgotten what they call it. Welland Way, is it?
Right, is that the way, just past that, the end of that, off the picture? Is that where the train crossing is?
No. The train crossing is over that way. Up to the top.
If that's Stay Drive,
Oh, that's on the route to the
so
school.
that's the schools over here, I would say.
So that is the route to the school that people go down?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Got you now.
They go down Trent Road as well.
Comments, please?
Have we had any objections?
Not looking on here, there isn't, no.
No. Not
The only thing I was looking at is the light, but it wouldn't make any difference to the houses that far apart.
Yeah. Proposal, please?
Yeah.
To approve.
To approve. The proposed Sally Ann, seconded Peter. All those in favour? Thank you.
I didn't put my hand up.
Oh, sorry. Against? Abstaining. Number 4 is single-storey rear extension to house, 1 St Albans Close.
Which one are we on now?
Number 4, Mr and Mrs Donald.
It's a bungalow.
Oh.
They want to extend it.
Upwards.
No, outwards.
Outwards. Well, they've all got big gardens.
Anybody got any comments?
It's a big plot.
It's a big plot.
It is very big.
Do I have a proposal?
Yeah.
We approve? Sally Ann and Peter. Sally Ann and Peter against a double team here. All those in favour?
We're not in a hurry to go home.
Unanimous?
We're going to have to extend the meeting if you want to.
Right. Can I have a proposal that we extend the meeting by 5 till 9:15?
Well, I have to go at 9. So.
Sally Ann, proposed by Sally Ann, moved by Peter. All those in favour? It's unanimous, thank you.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. Against?
Two of us that were.
Oh, sorry, it was Paul's on my blind side.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm against because I've got to go at 9.
I abstain.
Abstain.
I don't want to stay.
Okay, well.
He has to abstain because he's got a lift in him.
Well, let's crack on then, and let's try and get these done as quickly as we can. Next one is only for listed building consent. Anyway, number 5 is Otter Fine Foods, and this is a conversion of the bank on the high street to a deli and restaurant.
So there's nothing we can actually say about it.
Not really, no. It's listed building, isn't it?
It's a listed building
LBA.
consent, so usually you get the application and then you get the listed building consent.
I've not seen that.
It's a change of use anyway.
Yeah.
It's NatWest Bank.
Yeah, no, it's a mess anyway. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
I think anything's an
I
improvement,
propose
isn't
that we
it?
accept that one.
I mean, it's not saying anything about signs or anything, so I'm assuming they'll have to
We've
come
got a
back.
second
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Second.
So that's proposed by and seconded by Jean. We accept and we approve. All those in approve? That's unanimous, thank you.
Get you off of it then.
This is the one Martin's not involved with. Proposed extension and alterations to form additional bedroom and ensuite, study, enlarged ground floor bedroom and ensuite, enlarged garage, utility and enlarged kitchen. So basically they're enlarging everything. The Brambles, 7 St Albans Close again.
Is it the same house?
No.
It's a house. There's always a bungalow. I happen to know this house. So.
Oh, interesting.
No.
No, she knows the house, she doesn't know the
I know the
people.
house.
Here's the proposed.
It's very good.
Oh, there we go.
Little. It's huge.
It's the 2 black marks on the drawing there. Yeah.
It is a lot.
All the rich people live
The do, yeah. It's amazing.
Comments, anybody?
No.
Proposed
propose it.
Approval,
Yeah.
Old Sally Ann, and seconded by Jean. All those in favour? That's unanimous. I've got to check through this now. Right, the next one is 107 Brook Road, construction of a new vehicular access. This can't be too contentious.
Where's
sure.
107 Brook Road?
Just there, look.
Not even where it is.
Right, you know the big house with big gates? You know the building now?
Is it the old Baptist manse? That big,
Is that after you've
that
turned
big
left?
brick house?
It's next, near that,
It's not that one.
but it's not a big house, no. It's on that side there.
How far is
That's
that?
the big house where all that land.
Where that top junction is, that's
Yeah,
cricket
the
lawns.
Baptist house.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Is it not?
No.
No.
Isn't it?
No,
Oh, is it
no,
further?
no.
Oh, no, you further up, aren't we? Oh, right, yes.
Do you remember the crossing?
Yes, sorry, yes.
This is where they're
'Cause it's
going
on-
down to build the new
Yeah.
estate. That up there is the old people's bungalows
Yeah.
that go down to the flats.
Oh,
So this is about opposite where.
Oh, sorry,
Well,
I'm
I-
thinking the wrong place.
I'm thinking in the wrong
Yeah.
place as well.
So was I. There you go.
I got confused.
I mean, to be honest with you, I
know
think
exactly
if
where
we
it
can get any vehicles off the road, it's always a
I
good
agree.
thing.
well, there you go.
So I will move that we
Is
approve.
that long enough to get a date on though? It's difficult to tell, isn't it?
Yes,
Fifth three
just,
houses, isn't it?
Is it just?
yes. What a minute.
One would suppose so.
So I propose that we approve, seconded by Peter. All those in
Will
favour?
they pay for it themselves?
Yes, yeah.
Are you voting, Martin?
Are you, Martin, are you in or out? Martin, are you voting? Yes, yes. No, thank you. Next one is a single-storey rear extension, 39 Nen Crescent, depending on where you come from.
Neen from Oakham.
There's the reason.
So that's it.
What are you going to add?
A
Single-storey rear extension.
No problem, it looks fine.
Yeah. Proposed by Joyce, seconded by Anne. All those in favour of approval? That's carried.
Get onto the trees now.
Right, tree preservation. Do you know about these, Joyce? These trees?
Some of them, does our deputy tree warden know about them?
As long as you've got no follow-up questions, yes.
Right, let's deal with the first one then. To fell one number whatever and reduce the magnolia by 1.5 metres. It's a big magnolia, isn't
It
it?
is, isn't it? I must have took some years to get
Yes, it must.
57 Stamford Road.
Do we identify the trees from that picture?
Yeah, of course you can see that
I
there.
can't see them. I don't know which is which.
Anybody got any comments?
I thought those were protected.
Tree
Yeah.
warden?
It says T1 and T2.
Oh, I can
There
see
they
it
are.
now.
Tree warden? Any objections?
And staying, yeah.
I don't have nothing to do with it.
Daniel, any no members
No.
approve?
And was that the first tee?
I thought they were protected.
Martin?
I have a rule that if our tree warden tells me the tree is diseased, and I know she says she knows the applicant, but I would like some input from the tree warden on the condition of the tree.
I have
You
no
don't?
idea, because
Ah,
I have not
What
been,
about the
because
deposit?
I have not done it.
Yeah.
I have not done it.
So,
what we usually do.
I thought that those trees on that road were protected.
The other one's going then, not going.
not if it's in their garden, no.
Yes, those trees in
necessarily-
their gardens are protected.
Well,
They
it
don't
depends what tree it is.
Yeah, they're not
They,
putting
they
it
haven't put a,
down.
they haven't put a T, there's no, it doesn't say
They're
there's
not
a
knocking it
TPO
down,
order on
they're
it.
just reducing it. They're not knocking it down.
Fell.
They're going to fell one and prune the other.
Yeah,
Get
that's
me
the magnolia
Yes, they're going to put, they're going to fell number one. T1.
Yeah, but it's overgrowing the building, isn't
It
it?
is a BTA.
TPO.
Oh, we just right, yeah,
They're
yeah,
protected,
it's the
aren't
way you
they?
do it.
Protected tree.
Yeah.
Yes, they're protected, so no, I'm not against it.
So, are you,
We could let them reduce the magnolia.
Well, I don't mind them reducing, but you can't fell it if it's protected, unless
No,
it's
the
diseased.
magnolia.
right, so proposal please?
Well,
To reduce the magnolia and
Yes, and not to
approve
put down
the
the,
other.
because it's protected unless it's ill.
Yeah, so the proposal is that we allow, that we approve the pruning of the magnolia, but we object to the felling.
Yes.
Unless
Proposed
it's
by
diseased.
Anne, seconded by Jean. All those in favour? You carried. But one abstention from Joyce. Is that right, Joyce?
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you. That one. To raise the crown on one lime tree, T1, to approximately 5 metres and raise the crown of one beech tree, which is T2, to approximately 5 metres, 18 Stamford Road.
You see, this is what they're all doing, and they bought the house with the trees there.
What did you?
Any comments, Joyce?
Yes, trees grow, of course, whether they're there before the houses or not. And it is only raising the crown. They're not actually going to do anything other than raise the crown, and this helps the trees.
Okay. So are you moving approval?
Yes.
Thank you. Seconded by Paul. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. Right. This next one is to fell a cherry tree on the bank. Crown reduce of one bay tree and one cherry tree by 3 metres.
That's not the right picture.
7 Finkin Street.
Finkin.
Oh, thank you.
Finkin Street.
Well,
So-
the Methodist Church.
So what we're doing here is they're going to fell a cherry tree at number 1,
Shops.
reduce the crown of the bay tree,
I just read it down.
and reduce reduce another cherry tree by 3 metres. So they're going to take one out and reduce the others.
What about steps then? Because I thought it was shops. Where are they going up to?
Just in the garden, I think.
It's in the back
It's
garden.
in the back garden. Finkin
Well, it's
Street.
nothing to do
It's
with
not
the
on the street, it won't affect the street, see?
No.
Right.
And this cherry tree has grown like the rest
Yeah.
of the trees do.
Okay.
Proposal?
And to reduce the bay tree, if you've ever had a bay tree, I've got one in my
I've got
garden,
one.
and you do have to reduce
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
crown.
Damn, I've got 2 of them.
So they're going to fell the one at the bottom of the steps as
Yeah.
number 1 and reduce the other 2.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Do I have a proposed by Jean that we approve, seconded by Sally Ann? All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those against? 2. Thank you. Next one is to fell a hawthorn tree, 1 cypress tree, 1 eucalyptus tree, prune 3 yew trees, 2 highway exemption over footpath and road, crown lift a Norwegian maple tree up to 4 metres and reduce from swelling to create 1.5 metres clearance. Rutland Lodge, 63 Northgate.
I don't know where that is. I can't think where that is.
Is that the old people's place at the back of the?
It's right at the bottom.
Or is that the lodge?
It's near the station.
It's near the station, yeah. So you,
Oh yes, yeah.
So that road there is Station Road.
Yeah.
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 Yes, I know where you are.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Eucalyptus I wouldn't have in my garden at any price.
Well, yeah, lovely. Mine is like up there
So
somewhere.
do I have a proposal that we approve?
Yes.
Proposed by Joyce, seconded by Jean. All those in favour?
What was it for?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those against? 1. Those abstaining? 2. Thank you. And the last one, walnut tree, 1.2 house clearance, reduce west facing limbs over car park by 2 metres. A1 ash tree, 3 metres house clearance. Fell 1 yew tree, fell a cherry tree. All Saints Vicarage, 2 Vicarage Road.
Oh, sorry.
That's all I've got on it, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's all we got. Joyce, do you, or Daniel, have you any comments, you two?
I was going to ask Councillor Lucas, you mentioned to me something more about ash trees? Or is it the ones,
Say again?
you mentioned something to me a while ago about ash trees. Is that only, so like the ones on that car park, is it so many different ash trees around the town, or is it certain specific ones that are not allowed to touch? In other words, at the car park at the end of Mill Street, obviously there, the ash trees there. I was just wondering, obviously, because they're doing such an ash tree here, I wasn't sure whether there was some sort of regulation or not.
So there are everywhere ash
saying that they're
Well, that's what I was just saying.
Let's not debate that, Trish. Think it's
Yeah.
proposal, Joyce?
The wall not is going to impact on the house. There's a limb over the car park in this, attached to this house. Ash trees are a pain. Yew tree. I have a problem with.
I have, I'm the cherry.
Martin?
I have a problem with felling the yew tree.
Yeah.
I would agree with Councillor, because new trees and
And two cherry trees.
Okay. Can we have, do you want to make a proposal then, Joyce, that we,
Except
the yew tree?
the yew tree and the cherry tree to be just pruned or whatever you like to call it.
Okay.
I wouldn't like to see any three
Okay,
of
so
them.
that's proposed by Joyce, seconded by Martin. All those in favour?
I'm not altogether, so we're keeping the walnuts going to just be trimmed.
Yes, yeah.
with no tree felling.
No
at all.
felling, there'll be no tree fellers.
No tree felling. Oh, sorry.
So, can we show of hands all?
No tree felling.
That's approved, that's unanimous. Right, item 17, to decide whether to exclude the press and public under section 1 of the Public Bodies Admission to the Meetings Act 1960. Proposed by Joyce, seconded by Peter. All those in favour?
Nice to
Unanimous.
see you.
Thank you for your attendance, sir. Thank you very much.